Hey, good day, everybody. Welcome back. Rabbi Goldberg's decided to go back to Chavruta sessions. Very, very exciting. I think today we're still continuing with the 8 chapters of the Rambam, and I believe we're on chapter 3. We're joined by many people in the Zoom room. So it's good to be back with Rabbi Goldberg after the high holidays. So let's just tune right in and say hello to Rabbi Goldberg. I see I got Heather up on the screen. Heather, hope all's well with you. Shalom, Rabbi. You're live on the air. We're going to turn the class over to you, sir. So good to see you again. We're glad you're safe in Israel, and just know a lot of people are praying for you and all Israel.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I said it earlier today. First of all, welcome all of you, and welcome everybody who came inside. A long time no see. But for me, it's also a bit of giving me not only inspiration, those lessons, but also a lot of hope, because we are in a very, I will say, complicated and hard war with a lot of soldiers who are dying, and people that we know, and families that we know, family that we have connections, and it's not easy, and we have a very busy time here, and a very unstable time. And part of the hope that we have is those people like you who are joining the movement of the Noahide movement all over the world. It could be from South Korea, like Bart knows also, when you're still asleep, we're having a meeting there. It could be people from other places of the world, and it's giving us a lot of hope. You know that this week, Parsha, we read the Noach Parsha, the Parsha of the Noach, as we all know. And this Parsha have also the Babylon Tower. The sin of the Babylon Tower, we don't really know what it is. It's not written down in the Bible. Well, let's jump inside to see it for a moment, okay? With your permission. Then we will go back to the main issue that we are. But let's see for a moment this thing. It's giving us. Hope my internet will be stable enough. You know that this week, Parsha, we read. Why can I hear myself twice? What's happening there? Okay. No, come on. It's not working. Oh, fair enough. Genesis chapter 11, okay? Genesis chapter 11. And I will be very glad, Dan, you're going to read, please, the first 9 verses.
First 9 verses of Genesis chapter 11, okay.
And try, everybody, to find exactly what is the sin of those people, please.
Now the entire earth was of one language and uniform words. And it came to pass when they traveled from the east that they found a valley in the land of Shinar and settled there. And they said to one another, Come, let us make bricks and fire them thoroughly. So the bricks were to them for stones, and the clay was to them for mortar. And they said, Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make ourselves a name, lest we be scattered upon the face of the entire earth. And the Lord descended to see the city and the tower that the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, Lo, they are one people, and they all have one language, and this is what they have commenced to do. Now will it not be withheld from them all that they have planned to do? Come, let us descend and confuse their languages, so that one will not understand the language of his companion. And the Lord scattered them from there upon the face of the entire earth, and they ceased building the city. Therefore he named it Babel, for there the Lord confused the language of the entire earth, and from there the Lord scattered them upon the face of the entire earth.
If someone can let me know what exactly was the sin of those people. God is deciding to do, by the way, the word Bavel in Hebrew is, I will say, It's some sort of doing a mixture, okay?
Right.
It's the same word, doing a mixture, and this is what God did. He did a mixture with the languages, so
Right.
they were confused and didn't manage to speak one with each other. But I'm trying to understand what exactly was their sin.
They said, "Let us make a name for ourselves." I've been reading Ma'amar Veyadata lately, and the explanation that he gave in there really, when he said, "And let us make ourselves a name," had to do with a form of idol worship in a degree.
Fair enough. But I saw that you were hesitating, not because it was touching you, the explanation, but it's an explanation that someone is trying to put on the words of the Bible. It's not written down in the Bible, those words. This is one of the explanations that I can explain. Can I force this explanation? The answer is no. It might be a good explanation. The truth is that our sages are saying that was one of their sins, but it's not clear that it's written down there as one of the sins. It's something that is touching me. Okay, I'm saying okay, it's reasonable, but it's not written down. This is an explanation above the words that is written down. In the words themselves, please try to find. More than that, I can hear here something very important. God is saying there are one people. It's very strong. Therefore, I want to spread them over. But what exactly was their sin? The truth is that we have a lot of explanations, but nothing is written down. Okay, I can assume few things, but nothing is really written down. There is no sin that is written down. The main thing that is being said here, that God is mentioning in verse number 6, that he is a bit afraid that because they are one people, okay, and they all have one language, and this is what they have commanded to do. What? I don't know. It's not written down. Now, nothing will stop them from doing what they plan to do. But it's not written down what exactly they wanted to do. Okay? This is what they have commands to do. What? I don't know. Nothing is written down. The best explanation that I know, that is very exact with the wordings here, is that they were so united, and God said basically that it could bring them to a very hard things to do. And they are all one united people. And these hard things, now you can put inside a few ideas. What exactly is the problem of, or what exactly the problem that they can do with this unity of them? It's a unity for being bad. I'm sure that you all know those situations where sometimes there are unity among people that is bringing badness to the world. And this is basically what God is saying. It might bring bad things to the world, but he is not explaining. So our sages are saying that everything that is related with unity, God is not exposing what was the bad things, because unity is good in basic, okay? But what we do see, that one of the most important things that God wanted to spread them over, and this is why he scattered, he changed the languages of people, so they lost this unity. What I want to say, basically, everything started like that, okay? There were one language and uniform words. The truth is that this is a very interesting situation to say. In Hebrew, it says dvarim achadim, different words, okay? Different words, one from each other. And the Noachide movement is doing something interesting, because we are in different languages. Bart is speaking his mother tongue language, is not English, right, Bart? We can't hear you. Okay, it's a different language. Helen, mother's language, is also different. Martina is also something else. And Dan also knows French in a very much better way, even than English, or maybe on the same today. And Ahmed knows excellent the Arabic language. So here we are sitting, the languages of people, all of us, so they lost this unity, right? With different languages. What I want to say, one language. This is everything started like that. But on the other side, we are all together in one God, the one God itself. So basically, what we are doing in the Noahide movement, we are doing repentance to this sin of the Babylon Tower. We are managing to get connected, to be in one line, even though we are in different languages. It took us something like 4,500 years to come to this stage, but we are in this stage. Think about this. Applaud yourself, very much. All of us, all the Noahide movement, from all over the world. We are now managing to repair, to do repentance for the sin of this thing, of this Babylon Tower. Now, I don't know exactly what was the sin. They were very united words, but with something bad inside. Now we're going back on the opposite way. We are very united, but not for bad. And this is why I said to you, even though we have a very hard war with all the time, almost every day, we have 2, 3, 5, sometimes even 10 or 12 soldiers who are dying. And we, a small country, we know on each other. It's always touching us. It's always connected to us. If it's not in my neighborhood, it's in my next neighborhood. If I don't know the specific person that died, but I know someone from his family, we are all one unit. And the main hope that we have today, in this big fight that we have against evil, and this is the fight of today, it's good against evil all over the world. So the main hope that I have is that we are managing to do repentance for things that were in the beginning of the world, okay? In the era of Noah, in the era of the Babylon Tower. We're speaking about more than 4,500 years ago. And we are managing to start to move towards this unity back, even though we're in different languages, just the opposite way. So thank you very much, and you're all inspiring me. And now we can jump inside to the chapters of the ethics of the fathers, okay, that we had from the beginning. Just a moment, let me find it. That will take me a few minutes. Sefaria, let's go to the Sefaria. I'm sorry that, again, I'm really sorry. Those are very, very busy days, I will say like that. It's unbelievable what we have here. But this is one of the most important things that I'm trying to keep on, those lessons that we have, not only me, all of us. So I didn't have the time even to open it. Just a moment. It is Moshe Israel. Now we have, here it is, you see, we found it. Shmona Parakim. I think that, now the English, well, now we need the English, right? Now, I think we are in chapter 3, right? In chapter 3? Okay, because you've learned with Rabbi Herschler, you've learned chapter 2, right? So let's start to go inside. I will do my best. Hopefully this week I will manage. Again, and we will put also those things again, like with the Chavruta, we'll put them on the internet, on the site, with questions, so you will be able also to learn it a bit before. And now let's start.
Chapter 3.
Let's
Concerning
start
the diseases of the soul. The ancients maintained that the soul, like the body, is subject to good health and illness. The soul's
Just a moment,
healthful.
Let me do this like that. It will be much easier. Please. Yes, please.
Okay. The ancients maintained that the soul, like the body, is subject to good health and illness. The soul's healthful state is due to its condition and that of its faculties, by which it constantly does what is right and performs what is proper, while the illness of the soul is occasioned by its condition and that of its faculties, which results in its constantly doing wrong and performing actions that are improper. The science of medicine investigates the health of the body. Now, just as those who are physically ill imagine that on account of their vitiated tastes, the sweet is bitter and the bitter is sweet, and likewise fancy the wholesome to be unwholesome, and just as their desire grows stronger and their enjoyment increases for such things as dust, coal, very acidic and sour foods, and the like, which the healthy loathe and refuse, as they are not only not beneficial even to the healthy, but possibly harmful. So those whose souls are ill, that is, the wicked and the morally perverted, imagine that the bad is good and that the good is bad. Can you scroll down a little more, Rabbi? The wicked man, moreover, continually longs for excesses which are really pernicious, but which, on account of the illness of his soul, he considers to be good. Isn't that the truth?
So first of all, we all know that, okay? Also, the Abenu Saadia Gaon, other books are bringing this idea. And today, I think it's very clear, very known, okay? The question is, what exactly you're eating? How much sport are you doing? How much you are holding your body in a good position and not bringing bad things to the body. I think that there is also research or someone that ate from junk food for a few days or something like a few months, and he became very fat and very with a lot of illnesses. So we know today about the physical side of the body, how to behave. But the Maimonides is saying that we might bring ourselves to something very similar also with the not with the body side only, but also from the behavior side. Okay, now with the body, it might bring us to a situation where we are losing it. For example, we know people who are addicted for Coca-Cola, for example. Now, they will tell you how much Coca-Cola is good, but we all know that this drink, that it might be tasty, and I like it. It's one of my favorites. But we all know that to drink only Coca-Cola is something very bad. But people are starting to imagine to themselves and to give to themselves a lot of excuses why it's good. And this is what he said here, that it might be that you will say about something somewhere that it's sweet and the opposite. On the same level, on the same idea, we can find ourselves in a situation where we're doing bad behavior, okay, not with the food level, with the behavior level, okay, and we're saying to ourselves it's good, even though it's not good. Now, if I will go to the extreme side, I can find people like, for example, in the mafia. In the mafia, let's go to the Italian mafia. I hope that we are on the internet, right, Dan? I hope I'm not going, to draw the Italian mafia about me. But let's go to the Italian mafia, or to the people that are working with the mafia, okay, or with the South American mafia. And they are spreading drugs for themselves with money. You know what? I will go to a different explanation, or a different example. I will go to the we have today a war in Lebanon against the Hezbollah. Part of the money of the Hezbollah is that they are dealing with drugs. It's true, okay? Something like 30% of their cycle of the money is that they are selling drugs, not only in Lebanon, but also in Syria and also in other places. And they're selling drugs. Now, they're saying to themselves that it's important. They need to have money and more money for buying more and more missiles to shoot at the Israeli people. And therefore, it's good to sell drugs also to Arabs. It's good to sell drugs. And they're getting, I will say, an upside down ideas what is good and what is bad. Right? Now, we all know two things. First of all, to send rackets and innocent people, it's not good. And also to sell drugs, it's not good. But they're saying to themselves, yes, it is. This is the best thing to do. And the bad thing to do is not to fight against Israel, for example.
Rabbi, can I say
Okay.
something?
Yes, Ahmed, please.
Yes, I think this is related to the Machiavelli principle, which says the just end justifies the mean, or the end justifies the mean, and the mean justifies the end. You know, so they are doing something bad, but because they have another intention, they justify for themselves that what they are doing by selling drugs to other innocent people and killing the innocent Israeli. They think that this is something good. Selling drugs, for example, although it's immorally, it's illegal and it's immoral in the general principle, in the general sense, you know.
Ahmed, thank you very, very much because, first of all, thank you very much for those words. By the way, today, I've got an email from Jamal, the head of the Syrian government that is sitting outside Syria, okay? And he asked us to bring those letters to the prime minister, whatever it is. He's also asking to do peace with the Israel state. But what I want to go from what you said, you're more than right. We all understand that. And this is what is bringing me to the question, who is deciding? And this is a question that was along all of the history of the world with everybody, okay? Who is deciding what is the scale of our moral behavior? What is the scale? And I will give an example. 1,000 years ago, I think that we are in something very similar. There was the Crusades on one side and Salah ad-Din from the other side. And each one of them were sure that each one of them is holding the right scale of moral. And they did big fights that a lot of people got killed. Each one of them was sure that they have the right scale of moral behavior. And the question is, and this is one of the biggest questions that we have, how can we decide the scale of all those, I will say, values?
Deciding what is wrong and what is right. I will tell you the scale. The scale is simply the human conscious. By the human conscious, you know exactly.
We lost you. We lost you. Open the microphone in the
By
middle of
the
a sentence.
by the human conscious, you will decide what is wrong and what is right inside you. Because if you search inside yourself, of course, you will know exactly what you are doing is right or wrong. You believe, you know inside yourself what's inside you. But according to other purposes, of course, they fabricate for themselves the stories. Like, for example, Hezbollah and Hamas is telling us now that they're fighting the enemy in the name of the Arabs against the Israel but we are Egyptians. We know that they are just liars and they are simply terrorists. That's nothing more than terrorists.
So I agree with you, and I want to be more exact and to try to say something that I will say it like that. What you're saying today, I agree with you. I'm on your side. Okay, I think that the Hezbollah and Hamas are doing, I will say, they're doing a lot of evil. Okay, and this is why we're fighting them. And they are a bit surprised because we're really fighting them and we're killing them. Okay, we're demolishing them, and we all see that. All the region can see that, but it's still leaving us, I will say, with something a bit vogue, a bit fakey, a bit not clear. And I will say why. 2,000 years ago, it was very, I will say, very, very popular to take your firstborn son and to sacrifice him to God. It was very popular 2,000 years ago. So you will tell me that it's something that a moral behavior? No. So I want to advise, I want to give a different, we'll say, idea how to decide the values. And the way to decide the values, it's very interesting. In the Hebrew language, what we say a word that is called Yirat Shamayim. Dan, do you know what is Yirat Shamayim is? Have you heard about this word? Can you explain this in English, in your eyes, and I will say, try to exact it a bit more, please.
Yirat Shamayim has to do with the awe of heaven, and to understand the order that heaven has decreed for things to flow in nature and above nature, and just to understand the way that the Hebrew Bible opens up with Elohim creating the world before Havaya is introduced. It's mind-blowing to understand that the word Elohim used has to do with the defining process, the limitations of all existence. And so Yirat Shamayim has to do with everybody understanding the flow of existence, and to have awe on how much Hashem rules, and understand that it's not just we're not all here randomly, like you ask, who defines what, and Hashem rules, and he's the one who has the final say on what definitions are, not our own guts or our own opinion.
Excellent. And now, please, with your permission, Dan, you said very good things. With your permission, let me go step by step. I will try to do it in 2, maximum 3 steps. Please go with me and listen to what I have to say, because I'm going to try to define the Yirat Shamayim in a way that will be understood, and it will also answer you, Ahmed, and not only you, everybody else, how we are trying to define things in the best way. So let me start in the physical side, okay? The first level, the physical side, and this will give us example to go inside and to dive a bit more to a higher level of a spiritual side. On the physical side, we know that water and fire can't live together, okay? Or that the water will shut the fire, or that the fire will manage to boil the water, so it will be, hear me? Now you can hear me? Okay. I'm saying again, here in our world, water and fire can't live together. They can't. But if we will go for a moment to the clouds, the cloud is with water, right? And when 2 clouds are clashing one to each other, what do we have? The thunderstorm, right? The big brick that is coming, the big fire that is going out. So up there in heaven, they are living together, right? This is on the physical side. There is a difference here in our world that we can't put those 2 together. Up there in heaven, they can be together. They can join each other. They can live one next to each other. They even, one is, bringing the other one, whatever it is. Now, let's move. This is the physical side. Let's move to the spiritual side. The water is, in the spiritual idea, is always going downwards and doesn't have any, I will say, bone, okay? The bones is giving us the image. The water doesn't have any bone. They are very, floating, whatever it is. Wherever they can go, they're going, okay? The fire is going upwards, and with a lot of, I will say, ambitions and a lot of excitement, whatever it is, okay? Those are the 2 different identities of people. One is more slowly trying to sleep a lot, whatever it is, and the other one is all the time with a lot of fire inside. We're giving him from time to time some Ritalin so he'll be quiet, something like that. Those are two different people, okay? One is more, the fireside is more like the din, like the very strong and very hard and very hot. And the other one is much more like the, what we call the mercies, the rachamim, those are two different things. In our world, it's hard to put them together. But above, in heaven, it's in a different way. And they are managing to live one with each other. One of the things that we have in our world here is to take all the values that we have and to bring them in peace in this world. Now, those values in heaven, Yirat Shamayim, are managing to live one with each other. Here, they don't have the possibility, unless we will manage to, from time to time, to say this value is more important, the other one is less. Who is giving us, I will say, the scale of the measurement? God, who created all the values. And he's telling us, this is the time that this is a more important value to do, and this is the time that this is a more important value to do. I will give an example. And Ahmed is more than right. We are fighting today people, the Hamas and the Hezbollah, and also people there in Iran, that in Ahmed is also right from Egypt. He remember them, what we call Ahim Muslimin. Okay, I don't know how to say it in English. Okay, they are the Muslim Brotherhood. Okay, the group that captured Egypt, and they managed after 2-3 years to go away from them. Okay, but they were the same thing, and those are people that are very, I will say, hard people, like the fire and trying to kill people, whatever. It's like ISIS. Now, we, the Hebrew nation, we don't believe that we are supposed to kill anyone. We are trying to avoid this issue of taking life from everyone. But here we came to a stage that we are, that God told us there are some times that you need to fight and to take the life of people, because this is the only way to stay alive. If you remember the story about Cain and Abel, if you remember how we taught it, that Abel was stronger than Cain and Abel was above Cain, and he didn't understand that there's a time that he's supposed to use his values and not to say to Cain, okay, I won't kill you, whatever it is, and then Cain killed him. Now, in the Greek mythology, we all know about Kyros and Daedalus. Remember this thing? That they were in the garden, like the maze, the big maze, and they didn't know how to go out from the maze, Kyros and Daedalus. And then they built wings with the wax, and they flew to heaven. What is this story saying to us? They try to look on what's happening in this world and to learn the values in heaven and to take them back here. But what happened to them? They went down to the water and both of them died. Or in the mythology, the myth of the old Greeks, there is no possibility of human being to learn or to fear from the values of heaven. He is supposed to decide those values for himself. In the Hebrew tradition, God is saying to us, when I took you out from Egypt, I took you on the wings of the eagle. I'm taking you above to the heaven. Look on the values. I'm teaching you how to use the values in the right way. And for all of your life, wherever you are, wherever you're going to be, the Jewish people, the Hebrew people, you will do everything for the best to bring life to others. Unless someone is trying to kill you, you need to kill him first. This is the only time that you're going to break this law. Those are the values. Now, the values is a very big, I will say, a very, very big map of things that you need to learn. It's not one thing. For the Noachide, we speak about 7 laws of Noach. Ahmed, we have this book, the book of what we call Brit Shalom. I don't know if you know it, but we have it also in Arabic. We have the book in Arabic. We put it on the internet last week. We have it now in 19 languages. If you want, you can buy it also, Ahmed, everybody, in the Chinese language. But you can also buy it also only in your language, okay? Ahmed, but we have it also in English. If you want, I can send you the link. Send me after that the email and I will send you a link, okay? So you will be able to see it. What the Maimonides is saying to us in this chapter, he's saying to us basically, we might lose it. We might think that good is bad and bad is good. But this is where we need to go back to the main values. And the one who gave us the values, the one who invented all the values. And just like if the body is going incorrectly, so we're going to the doctor who is expert with the body, we need to go to the sages that spoke with God, the Hebrew sages, that will tell us and will lead us to the right values that in heaven are managing to live one with each other, how to bring this to this world to live one with each other. And I'm giving again the example, the first very simple example. The United Nations is every year taking out some sort of a summary, okay? What you hear now is another airplane, whatever it is, above us. I hope that it won't bother you too much. The United Nations is taking out every year a summary, and usually it's about between 50 million to 60 million people who are dying, starving for hunger and dying because of hunger. And when you ask yourself, do we have enough food that no one will die in hunger for this in this world? The answer is we do have enough food. So how come so many people are dying for hunger? Because something here we are not doing in the right position, in the same values that we're supposed to do one with each other, of more giving and not just receiving. And this is where we are losing it, because we are not doing the right things. And this is, I'm coming back to the hope that I have from this group and this mindset, okay? That we're starting to learn together the exact, I will say, values that God is giving us, and we will be able to move the hunger from this world, to move the war from this world. Some of the people will do repentance, and some of the people will need to move away, just like what happened in the Noah era, okay? That in the Noah era, God said to him, go to the cave, to this specific place of the ark, and the rest of the world I'm going to demolish. So thank God we don't need to demolish the whole world. But it might be, unfortunately, that there is a group of people that we need to move aside. And the rest, we will pray that they will do repentance. And we will manage to bring the world to a better stage. Okay, so now we understand the fear of heaven is basically to bring the values that in heaven are living one with each other, just like the cloud, you remember? To this world, to bring them to the right, I will say, scale, and how exactly they can live one with each other.
Wow.
Not because today I understand or I think what is good and what is bad. It's good, but 2,000 years ago, there was different things, how people felt, what is good and what is bad. No.
Right.
Even then, the Hebrew nation screamed loud and clear, don't kill your firstborn person, firstborn child. Don't kill it. And people there said, the Hebrew people are insane. You know what? I will give another example. 2,000 years ago, the Hebrew people said to the world, let's take one day of the Sabbath to sit down and not to work, and instead of just working, to give something to our soul. And the Rome were very against it. How come you're saying this value, or you're trying to bring this value to the world? I think that today, most of the world have one day of, of taking a day off, I will say it like that. The 6th day, the 7th day, or the 8th day, okay, the Sunday day. But this value, it's something that the Hebrew nation gave to the world. And there are a lot of values, but we need to put them in the right adjustment, one with each other. And this is the fear of heaven. This is the explanation of fear of heaven. But it's what you said, Dan, but I'm trying to say it in a, step by step, so it will be clear how to live it. And this is
Rabbi,
what the
it's
Maimonides is saying.
it's right there in the word shemaim, right? That's from the two Hebrew words aish, which is fire,
Excellent,
and mayim,
excellent,
which
excellent.
is water.
Excellent. You said it. Excellent. Right. The word shamayim are two words, esh v'mayim. And again, I will go to the physical world and I will explain this. Esh v'mayim, it's water and fire. Okay. On the physical side, we know that the clouds are holding the water, and when they're clashing one with each other, this is where the thunderstorm is coming, and the light, is coming, and there is ash, the ash, and also water. It's also to gain. So just like in the concept of the physical side, the same thing is up there in heaven. All the values that are contradicted here in this world are living together. And the way to put it in this world is by understanding when to use what value and how to use it, that it won't contradict the other one. This is the fear of heaven. But everything is fine. I can see that you're looking here, whatever it is.
Well, I was thinking about opposite values, to be strict, to be lenient. As an example, to be strict, and the opposite, to be lenient. To hate, to love.
Exactly. But fair enough. Continue, please continue. Sorry.
So, in fact, I was asking myself, how must I do this in daily situations? It's not that simple always.
It's not simple. It's really not simple. Okay. Just a moment.
For example, in educating a child, when are we to be strict? When do we have to be lenient?
I will finish. I will finalize. I need to go. Okay. I will finalize with something, and maybe we need to continue this next week. Okay. I'm not closing the room. You can continue speaking, but I will show you something that will help you to start to realize the Hebrew nation. But again, it's very big. It's not in one day where we're learning everything. Now we're learning the principle. So please look for a moment what I'm going to share with you. And this is in this very amazing book of King Solomon, okay? What we call Kohelet, okay? Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And please, Dan, just let's read the first 5 verses, please.
Okay, so Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 to 5. Everything has an appointed season, and there is a time for every matter under heaven. Turn. Yeah, a time to give birth, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to uproot that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time of wailing and a time of dancing. Oh, forgive me. A time to cast stones and a time to gather stones. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing.
It's enough. Then you can read it on, okay? What I'm trying to say about is one of the most amazing, I will say, gifts that we got from God, okay, is the issue of time, okay? What we say in English, it's very nice also, the present. The main question, or one of the biggest mistakes that people have is that they don't realize that we do have here a certain time in this world, okay? And this is where we can start to adjust things. But we need to remember that there is a time for everything. But we need to understand on what we're giving more emphasis and what less. When is the time for that? When is the time for that? And this is one of the big things that we need to learn. One of the things that we're doing in this book of Brit Shalom. Now, we learned only the first half of the chapter of the Maimonides. I'm really sorry, I need to go out. Okay, already called me. I know that it's a bit earlier, but next week, hopefully, we will have a full hour and even more than that, as usual. we'll go back. I'm not closing the room, so you can still speak one with each other if you want to. Thank you very, very much. I think that we did something. We've started to continue on to progress in this thing. I will do my best to put this chapter also with questions, so it will be easier for up learning from from the
so
beginning.
those links are going to be up on the Noahide World Center. That's noahideworldcenter.org on our website, and there is a sign up page for those of you that want to sign up for the Chavruta sessions. I know the last time we had people that requested Chavruta partners, and I know the Noahide World Center did their best to try to pair people up with appropriate partners. It's not always easy to get everybody's schedule to coordinate, so you got to be patient. I'll try and connect with Jacob again and see if he wants to study together.
I'm going out. I'm sorry, really sorry. I need to go. Bye, everybody. Have a great week, and see you all next week. Ahmed, thank you very much also for coming.
Blessings to you. Thank you.
A lot of
we will see you
courage.
next week.
I agree.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm going to keep the
Next
Zoom
week
room
we'll
open.
continue.
Yeah, I'll keep the Zoom room open for a bit here, but I'm just going to close down the live stream. Excellent session, even though we only got through the first paragraph of chapter 3 of the 8 chapters of the Rambam. That's one of my favorite books. I've gone through nearly a dozen times, I think, 8 or 9 times anyways, and it's talking about the illness of the soul. And the Rambam was a doctor, and he looked at things from a physician's perspective for sure, but when it came to dealing with the soul, he looked at illnesses of the soul and how they could correlate to medicine, and if you've got an illness, it's rooted deeper. And I like how he brought up the point today about excess and how that's an illness, and when people want things that are bad for them, or too much of one thing is bad for you. I mean, realistically, it's not going to do you any good, but people, we have here in the West a rampant diabetes, and people don't realize it's from poor quality of food and bad life choices, but it can be dealt with to a degree and managed, and you can live a healthy and a full life, but understanding the root soul. I like how Rabbi Goldberg pulled out the fear of heaven, the combination of water and fire being a thing up in heaven, whereas here on earth they clash. Water extinguishes fire, or fire can evaporate water. They don't coalesce, but the word shemaim comes from the Hebrew word aish for fire and mayim for water. And when I like how he gave the analogy of the clouds clashing together and lightning sparking, real good imagery to imagine shemaim. But it really comes down to the order in which heaven has decreed things to be, and I like how he brought it out in Ecclesiastes. There's a time and a season for all things under heaven, and often I find butting heads with people on the extreme side of kindness, thinking it's always the way. You got to be kind, you got to be kind, you got to be kind, and yet they don't realize that. I read in the Zohar last week that kindness to evil is darkness, is the way it's defined. So when you're kind to the wicked or evil, it creates darkness in this world. And the order that Hashem has put into place, evil doesn't have any life force of its own, so it feeds off of whatever it can get, and it will drain and live off of others. It's just notions, but the beauty of Torah has the answers. I love how Rabbi Goldberg talked about that's the basic purpose for us to function in this world. And I heard a phrase in what I was reading yesterday that used the term Gevura Shebe Chesed, which meant the definition they gave for that had to do with might according to kindness. And so like Bart was asking the question of when do you be firm And kindness functions like water. It's not structured. And being too firm, I think one of the best explanations I've ever heard, Bart, had to do with, if you consider a good teacher that is too firm never gets across the lessons to the students. You just see them as heavy-handed. And those that are too kind and let the students run around and do whatever doesn't teach either. And so the balance of having that ability to be firm or have might, not arrogance. I think the Hebrew rule allows for 1/8 of an eighth in order to be able to teach. So if you had to scale, it's not the happy medium when it comes to what's permissible. It's 1/8 of an eighth, or 1/64th of the scale you're allowed to maintain in order to have that ability of might, according to kindness, though. But you can't be all kindness, or everything just gets wishy-washy and no structure, like the rabbi was trying to explain, that water has no bone. It's got no rigidity. It's fluidic, and the viscosity of water just rushes right out. And yeah, excellent stuff. But on that note, I'm going to close my broadcast down. Keep the Zoom room open if people want to open their mics and chat. So I'm going to sign out for this week. We will be back in about 90 minutes with Rabbi Carmi Ingber in our Nativ group. So we will sign out from this one, but we will be back next week, I believe, with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg. We're glad to be back. He's been off for about 4 weeks since the high holidays, and so we're glad to get back with his classes. But he is going to have it up in the Chavruta sessions on the Noahide World Center webpage, and you'll be able to set up for next week and read questions in order to provoke good personal study between you and your Chavruta partner. It's always good to study with a partner and get some bounce back, so you're not just forming your own ideas, but you're getting a variety and functioning in a healthy fashion, for sure. So on that note, I'm going to sign out of today's broadcast. We will be back next week. Bye for now, everybody.